right, let's get to the Ravens because they are off to an 0-2 start for the second time under John Harbaugh. Just the second time, okay? They also started 0-2 in 2015, ended up going 5-11. So that makes Sunday's game against the Cowboys a must-win of sorts for Baltimore. Just 6 of the 247 teams to start 0-3 in the Super Bowl era have made the playoffs. So basically 98% of 0-3 teams missed the postseason. You don't want to go 0-3. The last team to make it was the 2018 Texans. Just one 0-3 team actually won a playoff game. That was the 1992 Chargers. Dan, what is your biggest concern about the Ravens right now?
They're not handling people at the line of scrimmage the appropriate way. They allowed Max Crosby to, I think, win AFC Defensive Player of the Week. And if they treat Micah Parsons the way that they did Max Crosby, they're going to lose this football game as well. Max Crosby lined up at the right number. One, Baltimore, you're not going to be able to gap scheme towards Micah Parsons. He's going to do that same stuff, understanding it's Derrick Henry in the backfield. Play's going to get blown up. You can't pull people towards Micah Parsons. Second of all, you can't down block one-on-one versus these elite edge guys. Micah's going to do the same thing. Max just gets upfield, blows up the play, 5-yard loss. Again, Derrick Henry in the backfield. Now watch what Max does. This little shrink down. Again, as the motion, they're trying to one block Max Crosby with Isaiah Likely. You're not going to be able to do that to Micah Parsons. So I think this is a little bit attached to when Derrick Henry is in the backfield on first and second downs, and he is in what we call like the dot position or the home, meaning directly lined up behind the quarterback in the gun in the pistol or underneath. They're likely to run the football there. Micah Parsons is going to have tells. They got to handle and have a plan for those elite edge guys in the pass and the run game much better.
Yeah, I think that's some of that is a symptom of like what they probably feel like they're lacking on the offensive line. We know they had a lot of changes. That was the big question for the Ravens coming in. What is this offensive line going to look like? Interior offensive line play for the Ravens has been bad
Not
this year.
what we're used to.
It's not what we're used to in the pass game or the run game. I believe Derrick Henry, they're 26th in yards before contact.
Yeah.
They're 29th in pressures. Like, this is a offensive line that is figuring it out. The good thing about that is you're facing a team in the Cowboys who is also vulnerable defensively in the running game and at that D tackle position. So you have an opportunity for Harbaugh, who they've been put to task about Daniel Falele and if he needs to be replaced. He has not played well. They've gone against Chris Jones. They've gone against the defensive line with Matt Crosby.
I think the Cowboys' defensive line matches up well with Baltimore's offensive line for Dallas.
So we can see. You think for Dallas?
Yeah, because of
Micah?
The quickness.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens' offensive line struggles with that quickness, that sudden movement, that quick stem, and struggles with those double teams. The Ravens' offensive line struggles with that stuff. It's the strength of the Cowboys.
I agree. I think we'll see Roger Rosengarten, too. He's a lot quicker and can get off the line very quickly, and that kind of helps mitigate some of that for the Cowboys. So we'll see this week whether or not what they have going right now at the offensive line will work going forward. Otherwise, I bet we'll see changes.
My issue with the Baltimore Ravens is you just talked about Max Crosby. They went against a Raiders team, and they allowed Max Crosby and Devontae Adams to beat you. Like, you can't go into a game and let the two best players beat you. It was Chris Jones in week 1, and their inability to finish games. They've lost 11 games since 2020 when they've had a 7+ point lead in the fourth quarter, and some of that has to do with the secondary. I've been disappointed in the way they play because, to me, that's a strength of their team. And the defensive side of the ball, you look at it against the Chiefs, they gave up an easy touchdown to Xavier Worthy, just miscommunication. And then in the fourth quarter there, they have the lead, and they allow the Raiders to drive down the field. A lot of that on Marlon Humphrey against Devontae Adams, who's one of their best players. So needing your guys to step up when you need them most, I think is important, and they haven't had
You know,
that.
it's another thing, watching the Ravens defense, again, different from last year. Mike McDonald, now head coach of Seattle. It was boom or bust when it came to their pass rush. They got home a couple times against Gardner Minshew in their pass game, or they didn't get close to him at all. You know, there was never a rush that kind of just made sure he didn't get outside the pocket and didn't create a big play. It was either a sack or big plays because of the movement that Gardner
Which makes you feel like you had good pressure because you had 2 or 3 sacks, but not,
How much of that secondary stuff is because of the departure of the coaches? McDonald and the secondary coach is now the D coordinator.
Yep, for the Titans.
Wilson.
I think it has something to do with it, but my issue with it is when you still have guys, like you still have Kyle Hamilton, you still have Marcus Williams, you still have Marlon Humphrey, Steve, like you still have your guys still there. It's different when you lose two safeties. That's your key communicators. So some of it has to do with coaching, but to me, a lot of it is on the players. Just execute.
Yeah, I mean, to the point of the defense, the Ravens have allowed a 57 QBR this season. That ranks 20th in the NFL. The defense ranked second in QBR last season behind only the Browns. That's how good they were and how different it has been already this season. It's early, though. The Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores has called a blitz on 33 opponent dropbacks this season. That's the most in the NFL, and it's been effective. Minnesota has the most sacks, pressures, and QB hits when sending the blitz this season. All right, guys, show us why this defense was so good against the 49ers on Sunday.
Because all those numbers and that pressure from Brian Flores has quarterbacks chasing ghosts. You guys remember Sam Darnold, Monday Night Football?
I was out there.
In many ways, yes, you were. The foundation of this defense that he's running in Minnesota is exactly what made Sam Darnold chased ghosts. So week one, I want everyone to pay attention to the Vikings here. And so what stands out for me, quarterback-wise, is I get this kind of like umbrella, horseshoe, or half circle type of shell. And then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys up at the line of scrimmage defensively. And I really have only 5 offensive linemen. So as a quarterback, you're sitting there going, I got to be ready to throw hot, because if any of those guys that are unblocked come, the ball has to come out of my hands. The challenge is you don't know which one of those guys is coming. You don't know which one of those guys is dropping, and you don't know if they're really playing true man-to-man coverage. So again, what stands out to me, I got a stand up defensive guy. The really only 2 guys that are in their hands the dirt are those 2 defensive tackles. As a quarterback right now, I have to declare to my offensive line, like, hey, we're going to treat that guy as a defensive lineman, that guy's a defensive lineman, and maybe these 3 guys, and then that person's going to be my hot. It's a complete guessing game right now for me as an offense and as a quarterback trying to figure out what the defense is doing.
And the beauty of it is all that stuff you just said about, all right, I'm looking, and you're seeing all of these guys. So the ball has to come out because we don't have enough guys to block them. We know that too. So all these guys in the back end are looking at the quarterback, all of them. They haven't backpedaled. They're all looking to break because they know he has to throw the ball.
So are you telling me that as those guys have vision on the quarterback, they're playing
man to man.
They're
playing
zone?
Man. He has him. But because the ball has to go out quick, I can see he's going here. Look right here. Cam Bynum's already going that way because if he comes inside, he can make a play on it knowing that the ball has to go out quick.
So they're playing like man technique responsibility
with zone vision.
Eyes?
Exactly.
That's a problem for a quarterback.
Flo installed that in 2018 knowing that.
So here's where it messes up the receiver. So in this slot, if there's blitz, the biggest thing for me with pressure is that I got to get on the same page as the quarterback. I got to see what he sees. So this is why this is so confusing. Right here, I'm going to check this safety, which tells me he's disguising pressure. And I'm like, oh, he's not really coming. He's guarding me because they have a guy over the top.
You're thinking Van Ginkel's dropping.
I'm thinking he's dropping, so I know I'm going to make my move on him to get in the quarterback's vision. Now watch this. You drop out here. I put so much energy into this. I don't see this guy.
Another dropper.
And now I don't have my avoid move ready, and I'm not able to get in the sight of the quarterback by the time he needs it, so it blows the whole play.
And again, all of that for a 4-man rush.
Only 4 people. And for everybody at home, like these are just X's to us as an offense. We don't really care. We just want to make sure that we're protected up. You can see that Daniel Jones goes to throw the football. Everybody on the offense is not on the same page. And to J-Mac's point, it's a 4-man rush, so there's really 7 guys in coverage. Now let's go to week 2. You're going to see a very similar setup. Here comes that kind of half circle or umbrella shell right there. Now they're going to have 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage defensively because I have 6 guys in the backfield, and I'm going to prepare for that. Now remember, last time we showed you this snap, and end up being that 0 blitz with zone eyes. Ball gets snapped for the San Francisco 49ers. This is diabolical at home, okay? This comes out to being a Tampa 2 defense where you have those 2 safeties responsible for the half. These guys are flat defenders, and here's your middle linebacker run through. That shell-wise is a Tampa 2 defensive structure out of the same exact look that they presented the New York Giants to, and they played that 0 coverage on the back end. Look, you got all those stand-up defensive players. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Again, that same structure becomes a Tampa 2 defense. That's a problem for us on the offense.
And what's most impressive about this, you can only do this if you have smart players because you just said it looks just like the last one. In order for it to look like that, you have to be matched up with a guy man to man. So the only way Brock Purdy's going to believe it, Stephon Gilmore can't be standing over a running back if he's out here. You have to match your
personnel-wise.
Yes, and now he has to know if I'm the guy here and Harrison Smith is here. Now I become a safety playing the half field, and Harrison Smith is now playing cornerback in the flat. So at all of these positions, we have Josh Metellus, a DB, running through as a middle linebacker. You have to be able to play all the different spots in cover 2, Tampa 2, to be able to run
The crazy thing for me is if you just lined up Minnesota defensively and Tampa 2, 9 out of 10 times, Brock Purdy's going to hit this in route on time perfectly. Very rarely do you see Brock Purdy hop, frantic, and unknown in the pocket.
Well, to your point, they're disguising the disguise, and so he second guesses himself because right here, there's a throw here. This is the throw he wants to get over.
That's the ball you wanted there because normally this guy's running through and he's square shouldered there.
He's square shoulder, and his feet tell him to throw there. But if you go to the other angle, you see him second guess himself. He'll look this way to say that's the throw, comes back to the end you're talking about.
Chasing ghosts.
And then he realizes, oh, that is the throw, and tries to make it last minute. Watch. Right here, sees the throw, hitches to it, nope. Double checks, that is the throw, and he tries to come back to it. Doesn't get it, doesn't have the arm strength, it doesn't have the timing, and completion on third down.
You know what's another thing? 4-man rush. It's only 4 guys rushing, but somehow they create all those one-on-ones. The analogy I make is it's like playing baseball, and you're going up against the pitcher, and it's an 0-2 count, and he's got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, 100-mile-an-hour curveball, 100-mile-an-hour slider, 99-mile-an-hour changeup, and you're sitting there going, I have no clue what's coming. It's a total guessing game. This is not by mistake. This defense is going to give fits to everybody they play in the NFL this season.
That's going to work well. And by the way, when you're faced with that type of pitcher, close your eyes and swing. That's like Josh Rutledge told me one time.